My name is Catherine Peshek, and I'm a scientist here at UNM in the Earth and Planetary Sciences. And I study stable isotope geochemistry, mostly applied towards natural processes and systems.
So my name is Eleonora Edreva. I typically go by Ellie, and I am an artist fellow here with Shared Futures, and I work in a lot of mediums, but right now primarily what I'm working with is fiber and like digital art, like video and sound, but my background is in working a lot with scent, and I think that I'm going to be using scent for the project, which I'm really excited about.
So what sparked my interest in science as a scientist now was the art that I used to work on specifically. When I used to make pottery, I was really interested in where materials were coming, and that inspired me to learn more about where everything comes from. And especially being from Florida, I had no experience with rocks and like a variety of tangible materials. And so diving into that field really sparked my interest in science in itself and learning more about these materials, which then kind of has driven my whole career since then, because I'm just sort of inspired by how not only materials but landscapes form and long-term cycles and processes on Earth.
So I am currently an artist, but I wasn't always considering, or I didn't always define myself as one. In my undergrad, I studied English and creative writing, so I came to visual or like multisensory art through writing, and that was because growing up, I was always sort of reinforced that I was good at writing, but I wasn't good at art because I wasn't good at drawing or painting, at least like technical drawing or painting, which I feel like in childhood is what you're taught art is, you know? And so it was only sort of later in my life, once I started seeing the kind of work that other people around me were doing, that I realized that some of the things that I care about and like to do, and like the ideas that I have that I want to output in different forms, needed more like transdisciplinarity than just what writing can provide, you know?
To collaborate, especially now, like having this experience, I've realized that listening and patience is what is going to make things work, because not just being patient with another person, but being patient with yourself and your ideas, because you're developing a science art collaboration. Like, it's not an easy thing, and it takes a lot of brainstorming and thought to actually come up with an idea that can exemplify two mediums.
I just think that so much of our experience, like growing up and doing like group projects, you know, tends to be a really negative process, right? Because nobody ever actually teaches you that collaboration is a skill that you need to practice, and there's all these things that go into it, right? And I think you're always just expected to be like put in a group setting with other people and then like figure it out how to work together, and that is really hard. And so I think that collaboration is definitely a skill that you need to practice.
What motivated me the most was the fact that I used to be an artist, and so before my scientific career, I was really interested in pottery and making things and exploring how materials like actually exist when we make things like pottery. And so a lot of my inspiration came from revisiting that inspiration as an artist, but also collaborating as a scientist now and sort of using the new ideas that I've acquired in this new role.
I have been wanting to collaborate with a scientist for a really long time. And I thought it would be really nice to collaborate in a way that is a little more structured like this, and in a way where both people have an equal stake in the process and sort of an equal level of commitment. And I think always having the framework of like a larger group is really helpful.
I think sci-art collaboration is awesome. In terms of like real world problems, I think science and art combined are where we're going to get the best solutions coming about. The benefit of art is that you can take this really intense concept and show it to people in a way that they can conceptualize and then be inspired themselves.
I think in the time that we're living in, where things feel like they are becoming more and more segmented, we need to be doing all we can to make bridges across disciplines, like across life worlds, like across all of the things that separate us, right? And it's surprising to me that there aren't more sci-art collaborations that I've heard of. I think it's really exciting to work with people whose brains work in different ways and who then can communicate with people whose brains work in different ways. And if we're thinking about the work that we do as artists or scientists, wanting to reach or touch and like engage with like as wide of an audience as possible, right?